laboratory. Was that the last one? Mm-hmm. On Adam Cox's website, Phobia Guru, he states that nearly 1/3 of the United States population is afraid of spiders. In order to understand arachnophobia, you have to understand the history, causes, symptoms, and treatments. There are many different stories as to how arachnophobia came about, and there are also many different causes for arachnophobia, one including traumatic events. The symptoms differ from person to person, and the treatments are limited but very useful. Now I will inform you of the history behind arachnophobia. The rise of arachnophobia stemmed from different stories in different cultures. The first story behind arachnophobia, according to Phobia Guru Adam Cox, dates back to Greek mythology. The origin of the word arachnophobia is derived from the Greek word arachne, meaning spider, and phobos, meaning fear. The myth is about a woman named Arachne who challenges Athena to a weaving contest. In the end, Arachne loses, resulting in Athena turning her into a spider. In Ted Renosa's Tech Times article, last edited in 2015, he states that researchers at Columbia University in New York believe that the beginning of arachnophobia started hundreds of thousands of years ago in Africa. They say fear is in our DNA, making it able for our ancestors to survive, and being able to spot spiders, especially dangerous species. Our ancestors have evolved by genetically embedding the fear, and they began to coexist with these 8-legged creatures. The book Fear of Spiders by James Scott, published in 2014, says that people living in Europe during the Middle Ages believed that spiders were the source of disease and illness. They also thought that spiders contaminated their food and water sources, and that they were the cause of the bubonic plague, even though it was spread by rats and fleas. With that being said, people were still afraid of spiders and will always be afraid of spiders. Now that you understand the history, I'm going to make you aware of the causes behind arachnophobia. There are many causes that start the onset of arachnophobia. One theory that scientists believe is that it is due to evolutionary selection, because spiders were seen as creatures that carried infections and diseases, says Sophie McIntyre's 2015 article. A Washington Post video in 2019 says that for our ancestors, the fear led to our survival. They learned which species of spiders were poisonous and which were not. Arachnophobia can be developed in different ways by different people, says Graham Davey in his article last edited in 2014. The fear of spiders is said to be a social learning. Children can learn their fear from their parents, relatives, or even just being around people with arachnophobia. According to Chris Buttle's report in 2014, arachnophobia can be a result of a traumatic incident involving spiders. A modern cause could be the portrayal of spiders in books and movies. Spiders in books and movies are seen as monsters and dangerous. And as children and adults watch these movies and read these books, they can develop the fear of spiders. Since we discussed the causes, let's talk about the symptoms. Adam Cox's article states that symptoms of arachnophobia may have started during childhood or occur after a traumatic incident and are different for everyone. The severity of the symptoms can differ from person to person in certain circumstances. Not everyone who has arachnophobia has the same response, says Davey. Some, even just talking about spiders triggers the symptoms, and others it is just seeing spiders or cobwebs. In Rosemary Black's article from 2019, she says the symptoms are dizziness, trembling, sweating, nausea, rapid heart rate, and chest pain. Since we've discussed the symptoms, let's talk about the treatments. People seek treatments because the arachnophobia disrupts their daily life, says Jacob Oleson. Rosemary Black says that therapy is the most common way to treat arachnophobia, and therapists use cognitive behavioral therapy to try and replace the negative thoughts with rational ones. They use desensitization by gradually exposing the patients to spiders to help overcome their fear. Some people are reluctant to do exposure therapy because their fear of spiders is so severe. But a study published opened up ideas on how to cure arachnophobia without exposing them to spiders. Instead of showing them spiders, they showed them pictures of things like rolling chairs and spaghetti to trigger the responses, and slowly the patient became not as reluctant to be around spiders. This is a result of the study changing their neuroplasticity, says Carolyn Cox's article in 2014. Washington Post's Sarah Kaplan explains the report from University of Amsterdam about a 2-minute cure for arachnophobia. The study rewrites fear memories in the person's brain and helps them not to think of fear when they see a spider. They use a medicine to block reconsolidation and rewires their neural circuitry to make the fear of spiders unstable. They don't forget spiders in general, but they forget the rush of fear that comes with it. Since we have gone over the treatments, let's discuss what we've talked about today. Today we covered the history in different cultures, the reason people adapt to arachnophobia, the symptoms that are associated with it, and the treatments that help arachnophobia. In order to understand arachnophobia, you have to understand the causes, symptoms, treatments, and history. I hope by informing you all about arachnophobia, you will seek help for others and yourself if you suffer from arachnophobia.